The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 2, Reading and Viewing, and addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to demonstrate various reading and viewing strategies for comprehension and appreciation. Learners should be able to skim texts to identify main ideas and scan text for supporting details. Hi there, welcome back. As you can see, Ntabi is back on the road, and Ken has agreed to help her today.
Hi there.
Hi.
We're going to find out some more about viewing our world. In the last lesson, we looked at the importance of having a purpose when reading or viewing. And today, we're going to look at some specific reading skills, the skills of skimming and scanning. So, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain how skimming skills can be used when viewing, explain how scanning skills can be used when viewing, and use these skills. Last year, you learned about skimming and scanning when comprehending a text. Today, we'll look at how these skills are used when viewing the world around us. Do you remember what it means to skim? Let's have a look. Skimming is when you look quickly at a text to get a general idea of the content. This is a particularly valuable skill when you're traveling in a vehicle, such as this taxi, because it means that you're able to gather information really quickly. Let's see how well you can do. On this trip, skim the world around you and see if you can get a general sense of what is out there. Are you ready, guys?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Aha.
So how did you cope?
Well, let's see. While scheming, I noticed there was a whole lot of car dealers. There were also many garages and repair shops for cars. But something stood out for me, and there was a sign for engine and super quick. If our taxi was to break down, I'd like it to break down there.
Well, I also saw the engine sign, but I wasn't worried about a taxi breaking down. I just wanted a drink.
When you skim, you don't look at and read every single thing around you. Your aim is to get a general sense of where you are, the context you are in. So then, how easy was it to skim your world?
I found it really easy because I didn't have to read everything. A lot of the times I knew what a sign would say because I'd recognized the logo or picture on it. Sometimes even the color really helped.
So you didn't have to see very much to know what you were looking at.
That's it. I suppose I made some assumptions, but most of them were right.
Here's a quick task to see how this works. Which of these colors remind you of a bank? Got it? Now try it again. Which of these shapes remind you of a bank? So, which did you choose?
We chose the dark blue and the badge because it makes us think of Standard Bank.
Yes, I see them a lot when I watch cricket, so it's very familiar.
Makes sense to me. So when we view the world around us, we rely on clues to make sense of what we are seeing. This is particularly true when we are viewing it really quickly or skimming it. Now it's your turn. The taxi driver is taking Tabby and Ken on 2 short trips. Watch carefully and try to work out where they could be.
Some good ideas on that trip. Are you ready to go on the next trip, Ken?
Absolutely.
see, Ntabi and Ken have joined me in studio. So, did you guys work out where the taxi driver took you?
Well, Ken and I had a chat about that on our way here. We noticed that the two trips were very different. This time we couldn't rely on signs, logos, or posters to give us any clues. We had to rely on other information.
Yes, the first trip took us along a wide road through an area that was very green. The pavement was so wide and green, you could play soccer on them. We noticed the bus stop with school learners, so we think there's a school nearby. There was very little litter, and everything looked so clean.
We thought we must have been in a suburb, particularly since it had so many big trees.
And the second trip?
The second trip was very different. We thought we were in a township like Alex or Tembisa.
Yes, because the streets were very narrow and there were lots of people out and about. The shops were quite old and dilapidated, and there was a market and a taxi rank.
Well done, guys. You seem to have mastered the art of skimming. Now, let's think about scanning. Scanning is when you look through at something quickly to find a specific piece of information or to decide if something is relevant to your needs. In order to scan well, you will need to know what you're looking for. Can you guys think of when you would use a skill?
I know from last year you'd scan things like a television timetable or a phone book. You know, that kind of thing.
Yes, but you can also scan people or places. Like every time I arrive in a parking lot, I scan to see what cars are parked there.
That's right. We use scanning skills every day of our lives. In fact, Ntabi, you used your scanning skills when you got to the studio today. When you walked into this room, you scanned everything, didn't you?
Oh, I always do that. I like to look around where I'd sit and whether I wish to sit next to anyone in particular, so I have to look around as I come in.
So you see, scanning is a natural part of how we read the world. We can, however, practice our scanning skills so that we become more proficient at scanning and perhaps begin to find things that we might normally miss. We filmed some of our journey so that you could practice. See if you can find the answers to these questions while watching this bit of our taxi trip. Make a note of the questions so you don't forget what you're looking for. What do they sell at Maharaja? Where is the red bicycle parked? What is the name of the meat market? How much is cheddar cheese per kilo? Oh, and shout out loud when you spot the lotto sign. Let's watch. Did you manage to answer all the questions? Let's go back so that you can check your answers. They must sell spices at Maharaja. The bicycle is parked on the pavement just before the Golden Lion supermarket. The meat market is called Gold Reef Meat Market. And cheddar cheese is $24.90 a kilo. So guys, how did you do? Are your scanning skills top-notch or do you need more practice?
It wasn't hard, although I think I was quite lucky to spot the lotto sign. If we had been going a bit faster, I would have missed it altogether. So you do definitely need to concentrate when scanning.
And I think that regular practice would help you get better at this.
As a final task, we will play you another section of footage from our journey. The first time you see it, skim it, making notes of where you think you are. We will then play the footage again, and you will have to scan the footage in order to answer a series of questions. Ready? Let's go. Now quickly make a note of where you think you are and why, and then compare your ideas with a partner. Let's watch the footage again, but this time scan it to find the answers to these questions. What is written on the back of the red and orange bakkie? What is parked in the corner across from the blue building? What is a girl doing in the poster above the Northcliffe sign? Name 2 things advertised on the blackboards. You will need to make a note of these questions before you begin. Ready, steady, and start scanning. I hope you find the answers to all our questions. If not, keep practicing. But for now, we need to get out of here. So we'll see you in the next episode of Road Trip, where we will discover how to ask questions to predict.